The Bloodline underwent a major transformation after Cody Rhodes defeated Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40 to end his multi-year WWE title reign. Roman's loss to Cody and subsequent absence from weekly TV set the stage for the faction's restructuring. After WrestleMania 40, the future of WWE's top faction looked uncertain. During the first episode of SmackDown following WrestleMania, Paul Heyman told Solo Sikoa that losing and winning matters. Paul Heyman told the fans in the arena and the ones watching at home that Roman Reigns offers no excuses about WrestleMania and that accountability is a big word on the island of relevancy. Then, as Paul Heyman says, like a phoenix rising from the ashes, you're a tribal chief. Solo cuts him off. Solo tells Paul Heyman the same thing Heyman told him earlier. Losing and winning matters. So there's consequences to losing. So that means consequences need change. Paul Heyman's facial expression is great throughout this. Just like always, and the wise man has been a very important part of the bloodline. He is shocked that Solo Sikoa might be implying that Roman Reigns need to give up his spot at the head of the table because we all know Paul Heyman has a crush on Roman. However, Solo slowly pushes Paul Heyman away from him and looks directly at his older brother, Jimmy Uso. Jimmy's facial expressions are top-notch, an important storytelling element in the bloodline. Jimmy is shocked at what Solo might be implying. He is disgusted that his younger brother might imply that the older bro needs to get out of the faction. He starts asking his little brother Solo, "Me?" and pointing at himself in disgust and shock, letting the world know how disrespected he feels. "I know you ain't talking about me." Solo then hugs his brother and tells him he loves him, just like Fredo in The Godfather. Cinema, boys. Anyway, Solo turns his back on Jimmy after the two brothers embrace in what would be a wholesome moment, except a hooded man attacks Jimmy from behind. The hooded man is none other than Tama Tonga, the son of the legendary Haku, who, for those who don't know, is widely regarded as one of the toughest professional wrestlers of all time. Tama Tonga has a rich wrestling background. Before joining WWE, he was a prominent figure in New Japan Pro Wrestling, where he co-founded the Bullet Club, one of the most popular factions in wrestling history. His career highlights include multiple tag team championships and excellent singles matches in Japan. Tonga is known for his charismatic and aggressive in-ring style, which has made him a fan favorite. Interestingly, Tonga is not a member of the Anoa'i family, unlike other bloodline members, but is connected through his father Haku, who is considered an uncle by many of the Anoa'i family. Now, back to his WWE debut, Tama Tonga just obliterated Jimmy Uso. The man looks possessed, a wild animal whose cage was finally opened, like it's almost too real. He's the type of performer that makes you wonder whether or not he's gone a bit off camera as well. Anyway, after Tama Tonga obliterates Jimmy, Solo orders that Tonga lift Jimmy and raise his thumb in preparation for his signature Samoan spike, just like the late Umaga. Paul Heyman is screaming in the back, fearing for his life, wondering what the hell is going on, and begging Solo not to hurt his brother. Solo could care less, though. He delivered not one, but 4 Samoan spikes right on Jimmy's throat, showing no mercy, remorse, or empathy for his brother. While this happens, Paul Heyman is just covering his mouth, rethinking his life choices. Tama Tonga then throws the one to the sky in typical bloodline fashion. Solo Sikoa goes up to Heyman, who begs for mercy. Solo doesn't hurt him, though. He drags him to the middle of the ring by his arm and throws the one to the sky next to Tama Tonga. Paul Heyman obviously has abandonment issues and can't stay away from Roman Reigns very long. So as this unfolds, he grabs his phone and says, "Call Roman Reigns." But Solo grabs Heyman's phone and stomps it with his feet. He orders Tama Tonga to grab a steel chair, puts that steel chair around Jimmy's neck, and tells him he loves him before he delivers the Samoan bulldozer made famous by Umaga. This was the moment everything changed. Next week on SmackDown, Heyman tells Solo that he's making decisions that are not yet his to be made. Solo doesn't care and keeps it going to the ring, with Heyman by his side. As Heyman cuts a promo, the audience starts chanting, "We want Roman," which has since become a theme. It's the classic saying that you don't know what you have until it's gone, considering many constantly complained about how tired they were of Roman's reign. Solo grabs Heyman's mic, and the audience boos him repeatedly, like Dominic Mysterio-type boos. Solo was getting heat. Solo then refers to Tama Tonga as his MFT for the first time. And as we record this, we still have no idea what it means, so feel free to let us know what you think MFT stands for in the comment section below. Anyway, out comes Tama Tonga, who throws Kevin Owens into the ground at the beginning of the entrance ramp, and he is fully covered in blood. Owens tries to fight back, but gets beaten up by Tama Tonga and Solo. Kevin Owens tries to get payback and attacks the Bloodline, and Randy Orton joins him to even the odds. This sets up a tag team match between Owens and Orton against the New Bloodline for Backlash in France. Chants of "We Want Roman" continue, and Paul Heyman tells the audience, "More than you will ever know, I want Roman too." Backlash arrives, and so does the anticipated tag team match. The four men break into an all-out brawl before the match starts, and the French fans go nuts. Out comes Nick Aldis, the SmackDown general manager, who tells them that if this is how they want to go about it, the match will become a street fight. After an awesome and brutal match, Kevin Owens hits an amazing move off the top rope where Tama Tonga lands with his back on the steel chairs set up by Owens. There was no way Tama Tonga would kick out of this, and he didn't. But someone else interrupted the pinfall attempt, and it was not Solo Sikoa. A new Bloodline member debuts, Tonga Loa, the brother of Tama Tonga. Loa's unexpected arrival alongside his brother Tama Tonga added a new dynamic to the faction. Before joining WWE, Tonga Loa made a name for himself in New Japan Pro Wrestling as part of the Guerrillas of Destiny with his brother Tama Tonga. They are known for their hard-hitting style and won numerous tag team championships. Tonga Loa's addition to WWE revitalized the Bloodline storyline. Paul Heyman comes up to Solo to talk to him. Solo then intimidates Heyman, asks him if he's trying to take food off his children's plates, and asks Heyman if he tried to signal to Jay with a look that he wanted to help, as any paranoid, obsessive control freak leader does. Solo then informs Heyman that even though Heyman hasn't talked to Roman since WrestleMania, Solo has. Solo says that Roman has told him that until he returns, Solo is in charge of the group. Tama Tonga then enters the King of the Ring tournament, defeating Angelo Dawkins and LA Knight. It's important to note that around this time, Solo Sikoa decided he wanted to impersonate The Weeknd and started to dress like he was about to perform Blinding Lights. Tama Tonga is then scheduled to face Randy Orton in Saudi Arabia for a King of the Ring tournament semi-final match. After Heyman reminds Solo of how dangerous his new Bloodline recruits are, Solo reminds Paul that until Roman returns, he's in charge. Tama Tonga then scares the hell out of Paul Heyman, interrupting their conversation like the freaking hyena that he is. Surprisingly, Orton beat Tama Tonga that night, advancing to the tournament finals. Next week on SmackDown, Paul Heyman begs Kevin Owens to back off the Bloodline. After Owens refuses to do so, Heyman just has a nervous breakdown on live TV. Can you blame him? All those primal wild Samoans around him sounds like an anxiety-filled life. That night, the Bloodline faced and beat the Street Profits in the main event, continuing their momentum. Next week, as the Bloodline stands in the ring and Paul Heyman cuts a promo, "We Want Roman" chants continue. Solo suggests that Heyman should thank the infamous Tonga Loa and his brother, the right-hand man, Tama Tonga, for saving him the week prior when Kevin Owens was about to beat up the Wise Man. Kevin Owens and the Street Profits come out and brawl with the Bloodline, progressing their feud. The following week, the Tonga brothers ambush the Street Profits backstage and beat them up. That night, Kevin Owens faces Solo Sikoa in the main event, and with Paul Heyman's assistance, Solo defeats Owens. Then something fascinating happens. Do you know how brothers usually fight because they want the controller or because it's their turn to play with a toy? Well, the Tongas are slightly different. After the match, the two brothers argue and push each other off Kevin Owens because they want the privilege of beating him up. What a heartwarming moment between two brothers. Thankfully, Randy Orton comes out and helps Kevin before things get worse. Then, Clash at the Castle arrives, and after Cody Rhodes defends his title against AJ Styles, the Bloodline ambushes Cody. Orton and Owens come out to aid the WWE champion, and the good guys stand tall for a bit. The next episode of SmackDown takes place in Chicago, and CM Punk opens the show. Out comes his longtime friend Paul Heyman to warn him that Solo Sikoa says Chicago, just like every other town they visit, is his town, not Punk's. Heyman tells Punk he should leave the ring, otherwise they will come for him. Keep in mind, Heyman told Punk that he considered this warning a favor, and that he wanted a favor back from Punk. The Rogue Samoans, as Heyman described them during this promo, come out, and after the Bloodline threatens Punk, Punk asks Heyman what favor he wants in return. Humorlessly, like a man who has been kidnapped and lived on a stranded island as a hostage, Paul Heyman begs Punk to take him with him when he leaves. After this, Punk ignores his friend's advice and refers to the version of the Bloodline as fake Usos and a cosplay tribal chief. The Bloodline was about to beat up Punk, but Cody Rhodes came to help him. Cody tells Solo that he has already beaten one head of the table and challenges Solo Sikoa to a match in the main event. Later that night, we see a very interesting storyline development before Solo heads out to the ring. When the wise man advises Solo about his temporary role and tells him that he's pushing it, Solo explains something to Heyman that leaves him speechless. He tells Heyman that Roman is not coming back. Heyman looks heartbroken and has actual tears in his eyes. Little did he know, the night still had more to reveal. After the Tongans interrupt the main event and the Bloodline starts to beat up Cody Rhodes, Owens and Orton come out to help Cody. The good guys actually take out the Tongans, and Solo Sikoa is left alone in a corner, pleading with them. Just when they thought they had him, Solo started laughing because he knew something we didn't. Out comes Jacob Fatu, who is appearing for the first time on WWE TV. Even though he only appeared on TV in June, Jacob Fatu signed with WWE in April. Jacob is the nephew of Umaga and Rikishi, and therefore a direct cousin of Solo Sikoa and the Usos. He is known as the Samoan Werewolf and has a rich wrestling heritage and a reputation for his high-flying, aggressive style. Before WWE, he was a standout in MLW, holding the World Heavyweight Championship for a record 819 days. He was also part of the modern Samoan SWAT team in MLW, showcasing his ability to excel in faction-based storylines. Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa have teamed before, dating back to the latter's pre-WWE days, so there's a familiarity there. Known as the Samoan Werewolf, he is notorious for his amazing athleticism, hard-hitting style, and visually impressive leaping top rope moonsault as his finisher. Jacob Fatu has also captured titles in DEFY Wrestling and House of Glory Wrestling. Aggression and intensity make this group incarnation wholly different from the one spearheaded by Roman Reigns. That will only increase with the addition of Jacob Fatu. Now, back to his WWE debut. Jacob superkicks everyone in the ring and saves Solo. It is worth noting that, even though I have nothing against Jacob, let's just say the man is not necessarily a friendly-looking individual, as you can see. Regardless, he then hits Owens with a Samoan drop onto the steel steps and spears Orton through the barricade like an actual madman before delivering a splash off the top rope onto Cody through the announcer's table. As usual, Paul Heyman could be spotted in the background, covering his mouth in shock and trembling in fear. Jacob Fatu then enters the ring, and Solo Sikoa hugs the man they call the Werewolf. The Tongas join the two of them as all four throw ones to the sky. The Bloodline is stronger than ever. It is worth noting, however, that if you look closely, the Tonga brothers look at each other with surprised faces before joining them. We're just speculating here, but one of the reasons why that might be is because the Tongas are not actually related to Solo Sikoa. On the other hand, Jacob Fatu is. Almost as if they planted a very small seed here. Let's wait and see about that in the future. WWE seems poised to build substantial storylines around this new version of the Bloodline. There are speculations about potential clashes between Reigns and the new faction, which could see Reigns possibly turning face after years as a heel. The interactions between Reigns, the Usos, Sikoa, and Tonga promise to be a central focus of WWE programming in the coming months. These additions are part of WWE's plan to keep the Bloodline in the spotlight, not just as a powerful stable, but as the backbone of the company's storytelling. WWE's strategy for the Bloodline goes beyond simply adding members. The group has been at the center of some of the company's most captivating and highest-grossing stories. With the inclusion of international and high-caliber talent like Jacob Fatu and the Tonga brothers, WWE not only strengthens the Bloodline's frontline, but also attracts a wider audience by tapping into the wrestler's global appeal. With the Bloodline, WWE is effectively shaping the future of pro wrestling, ensuring that the group remains a dominant and influential force. As it stands, the Bloodline is dominant and wrecks everyone in sight, just like they always have. Even without Roman Reigns and the Usos, the truth is the faction is still producing excellent television. What are your thoughts on this version of the Bloodline? Do you think it's good? Or are you just waiting for Roman Reigns to return and get rid of them? What do you think will happen next in this cinematic family saga? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, thank you for watching. Hit that like button if you did, and subscribe for more wrestling content like this. If you enjoyed this video, you will likely enjoy this video we did on one of the most important characters of the Bloodline story, Main Event Jey Uso. See you soon.